Welcome back to FPRK Radio. That's Fuck Politics, Religion, and Kanye, the podcast where we talk about all the things we're not supposed to talk about. The things that get your family all riled up. You bring them up at Thanksgiving, you bring them up at Christmas, get you kicked out the meetings if you start talking about it. You know what I'm saying? All the things that we ain't supposed to say. Politics, religion, and Kanye West. Today, you know what time it is. Y'all know what time it is. Today, I'm joined by my guest, musical artist, Jude ARVAY. Jude, say hello.
What's up, everybody? It's Jude ARVAY.
Tell them a little about yourself.
I'm a creative soul, and I'm from Florida. I just dropped an album called Oblivion. Just putting things behind that to get that scene in front of the people. And I listen
to Oblivion, Fire album. Note for the people if y'all out there. You got to search Oblivion and Jude ARVAY. So search Jude ARVAY and Oblivion because there's a few Oblivion albums. And that was the thing. So just search the whole thing. I want to make sure people find the shit because like I did one time it was like People Under the Stairs or something way back. And I listened to a whole album that wasn't People Under the Stairs. Thinking it was the People Under the Stairs album. And I was like, oh, that album's pretty good. And it wasn't People Under the Stairs. So I'm like, I've listened to people's whole shit before. I'm like, oh, that's all right. And they're like, that's not who you was. So I want people to find shit. And my name's Aston, and people can never find me. So, yeah. So you just dropped the album?
Yeah.
All platforms?
A week ago. It's on everything.
YouTube and all that?
Yep.
Spotify,
Apple Music.
Is there a video out yet?
No videos out yet, but they're coming soon.
Okay. Bring the videos. I like videos.
Yeah, definitely have to get some pictures.
All right, so I know we gonna touch on this album a lot. I'll say if you get 14K is my jam. Y'all know how I feel about bangers. 14K is a banger.
That is definitely
it's a banger. And that's like important.
I wasn't even the fun part about it is that recording it, I did that by accident for the hook.
Yeah.
In the hook, I'm really not saying anything. I just thought it would be fun, and it was literally like my second take on a freestyle, and I was just like, let's keep that.
Girl, I was listening to it when it was playing. She was like, do you know what he's saying right there? And I was like, nah, I know what he's saying right here. I know what he's saying right here. I don't know what he's saying right there. That's hilarious. Yeah, all right, that's dope.
It was just for fun.
So on this podcast, we talk about politics, religion, and Kanye. And in no particular way, like in no type of way that I don't need it to be topical. We don't need to talk about the whatever the hell's going on this week in politics. Nothing. We ain't getting no money. Some shit like that. But do you have like political influencers or like not political aspirations, but like just ways in which you either like to make a difference in how the world behaves with itself or how you behave with the world?
I feel like once I get myself on a platform to where I have a voice in music, I would use it for good.
And then what is that? Like, what do you envision as good? Because I think there's a lot of artists that think I'm doing good, and some of them legitimately are, and some of them are like Kanye be like, yo, I'm gonna do some good stuff. Why can't I sell more Yeezys? And you're like, hold on, well, Kanye, that's personal. But like, how do you see it? Well, or like, what causes do you care about?
I care about pollution, just overall human health, what we engulf ourselves into, and from a very young age, I always seen the system we were in, and I always rebelled against it, and I felt like, growing up in school and stuff, teachers would notice. Yeah. And I would always get in trouble for like the dumbest reasons. Yeah. So
I mean, like that. Yeah, you said the problem getting in trouble for just like disagreeing with the teacher.
Exactly. So like just like overall, I feel like continuing on my path like with music is gonna get me to a plateau to where I could start to make a difference for things that I notice, but I'm also just knocking one task out at a time. Yeah. I just dropped my first project like since forever. I used to just drop like demos on SoundCloud.
Yeah.
You could go check them out. Just type in my name. And it's just a bunch of demos, a bunch of like songs that I produced on. But this one, I wanted more collaboration going on.
Yeah.
Because I realized you can't really do everything yourself and expect the results you want. Mm-hmm. You know, it does require help. It does require a team.
Yeah.
And I felt like I established that for this album, and I was really comfortable at sharing. I was super confident.
Yeah.
And I feel like even through listening to that, you could feel pain and you could feel an escape through it. Mm-hmm. You know? And doing music is gonna ultimately get me to where I need to be to have an actual voice. Yeah.
And again, we'll get to this later on in the thing, because my favorite guy with this, it's like, one, there's a lot of people like, you know, say like Jay-Z, he's gotten to a place with music where he can help. And arguably he does help like a lot of people. Mm-hmm. But, you know, and that's you and I were having the conversation as we walked in here about how money will affect people and how money, like, you know, people will not speak out about things that they're passionate about because it could fuck up the bag, right? So like that's and that's like while I'll always be like, and it's a thing that I worry about in my personal life, like how will I stay true to my message as success interferes?
I mean, I don't make music just for like labels or anything. I make it just because it's how I ultimately feel.
Yeah.
And I feel like speaking through it in that sense is gonna ultimately just help people emotionally. Yeah. Especially like feeling the way I feel and what I feel from other people. Yeah. And just ultimately putting myself in a position to where I could really focus to actually make things happen. Because as you said earlier, like people talk about making things because of the bag, but I know my purpose. And it's like, money's cool, but I don't know. I'm weird with money. Like, I'm really like that out of the box. Like, I'm only doing it because that's the way we have to survive. Yeah. So I'm like normally I'd probably be meditating in the mountains if this was like ancient times. Yeah. But like we have to go out and make money. Like I can't.
Only kind of. I'm super bad. I'm like the worst person with money anyone will ever meet. I literally do everything for the love. I could be making money off this podcast probably, and I'm like, but I just like coming down here and talking to people. And and honestly, I think it's truthfully, I think it's the only way to get like good art. I watched like Geostorm last night, which is like this real shitty movie. And it's like one of the movies you watch and you're like, oh, somebody just made this movie for money, right? And you can tell when someone like is making music for money. Like there's a difference between a person who goes like, I have music in my heart and I have to make this, and a person who goes, I want to make money. What's the way to make money? Make music. And the music's going to sound different. Like music that's made out of like, you know, your heart is way different than music that's made out of I want to chase a bag and make music. And it sounds different. You know what I mean? It's the same thing like someone who's like, I want to go tell jokes because I think it looks cool when Dave does it, or like someone who's like at home being like, I've got these fucking jokes in my head. I don't know what the fuck I got to go tell them to somebody. So yeah, like that's, as long as you're making it out of your heart, you know, you should be.
I would just speak how I feel regardless of what anybody thinks, you know.
You think
I'm still learning.
The next thing you know, your mom's still on the podcast telling you gotta watch your language, and you're like, well, I have some authority. I have.
Yeah, she definitely like just hears one cuss word in my music. She's like, "Why are you cussing?" I'm like, "Ah,
oh man,
is that all you heard? Come on."
Did you ever hear the
shouts out to mom,
the Nuck If You Buck? You know, Nuck If You Buck. Crime Mob, fucking old Atlanta shit. And they talking about the first time they saw on the radio, and their moms thought they was just like church kids and shit. And like, so they heard them on Nuck If You Buck, and they was like, "What is this language? Why are you cursing?" Like, come on, mom, just let me do my shit. So yeah, are you the next thing we go into this? Unless you have something, do you have something to say about like the Capitol riots or Joe Biden? I
did see those, but there isn't essentially anything I can do quite yet. You know? Yeah,
I'll tell you my personal. Yeah, my personal like stance right now is that I think everything that's on television and the news, I think we're like being just punked all day. Like if I was seeing this and I didn't know me personally, I would just be like, that's not real. I don't think anything's real. Like every little feel good story they show me on like Instagram or some shit, and like, oh look, the UPS lady came and she delivered a gift to this kid. I'm like, that's fake. All this shit's fake. They're trying to manipulate my emotions.
Well, you have to be someone who seeks information rather than someone who is fed information.
Yeah.
So you just have to know what you're seeking.
Right.
You have to know
and like look around it.
Yeah. Why pay attention to that stuff if you already know it isn't real? So it's time to go. Focus your attention somewhere else in a different direction.
I need to know the full message. I need to know the whole message. I need to know what's real. I got to seek the information. I got to know what they're trying to give me. I got to know what they're trying to give them. And then like I got to like know what I'm a psycho when it comes to information. I take all of it in. Like literally in my car I listen to conservative talk radio. In the mornings I listen to like progressive news, and like at the end of the day I watch the middle wing news people. And then I like check Twitter and shit all through. I'm fucking done with news and information. And then like listen to all the music in between.
I always catch myself on social media and then like I'm like, why am I on this?
Why am I like? What am I doing on this? It's nothing productive. It's doing nothing for me. But you be on that shit, hours, just wasting hours.
As an artist though, like I'm still figuring it out because I never really paid attention to social media. I was just always focused on music, and I didn't want to be that guy that was good at one thing. Like, he has an image, but his music's trash. Or, his music's fire, but he has no image.
Yeah.
So,
which would you rather be?
Both. I'm in there.
No, but which would you, like, great image and trash music?
I have both. I have great music. You heard Oblivion.
Indeed.
And, you know, I got the Billie Eilish, the Takashi Murakami on. Like, I got the fucking Creeper shoes, you know, swagged up, man. So I definitely have both. I just have to let people see it now. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
And just help everyone else around me at the same time. It's just in my nature.
Yeah. Fuck everybody. Just kidding. You just naturally... I'm like... I think I'm a
you
big...
have to. Like I said earlier, I feel like I know my purpose and what I have to do in my path right now in order to achieve everything step by step.
I here in my like part of my philosophy is I do everything for my own personal benefit, and what I mean so for me, being really dope to people, being nice to everybody. Right, looking out for people when I see it, like something, an opportunity or whatever, doing something good for them if I know I could. Everything that you can do good for somebody is literally good for me, right? Because people are going to treat me nicer when I go places, and I'll have more friends. And if other people see an opportunity, they'll look out for me with that opportunity. Like literally,
I think you should look at it as like, you know, you're spreading genuine energy around.
It's genuine energy,
and
there's nothing better I can do in the world.
It doesn't matter if it comes back or not. But as long as you're able to do that and help somebody else, and then they didn't even ask you, that's what matters.
But if I were to think to myself, what is the best thing I could do for myself, it would be what I'm already doing. It's like people are like, no, do for you. Fuck everybody else over. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? That's terrible for you. If you walk around just being just all about yourself and not looking out for nobody else, that's going to come back to you terribly. Like, it just don't make no sense to me.
Do you believe? I definitely wouldn't like to cut corners at all.
I cut all them corners. I'll cut all the corners. I don't cut nobody off, and I'll cut every corner. It gets me nowhere. It's really proved. It's not a good thing to cut corners. Do you believe in karma, or like, do you have any kind of religion or spiritual guide?
Yeah, I believe in the universe. I believe in a God, and that God being, just the energy inside of us, essentially.
Yeah, inside of us, outside of us.
The light.
Yeah.
Our soul.
Right. I mean, hold on.
Is one.
Right. Okay. So that's where like my question was about to arise from, because you said two things, which can both they can be reconcilable, but I'm going to ask you to reconcile them. And that is, you said like a soul, and that we're all one, which comes between like a collective consciousness versus an individual kind of consciousness or existence, right? So if I'm a soul, then I am an individual. And this is just like I said, this is easily reconcilable. And I'm not trying to pull no bullshit. I can see it being reconciled. But to me, one goes, there's an individual soul, like this individual existence, and then there's another that's this universal unity existence, right? So which kind of can you expound upon how you feel about the two of those, knowing that no one fucking knows. So I'll take your answer.
We're all the same type of soul, probably. This is just from my way of thinking and how I look at things. Of course, nothing is probably factual or anything. It's my theories that I think of, but we're all the same kind of energy, but our soul is just who we are and how we think. Are you into astrology?
I mean, I'm into. I told you, I'm just done with information. I'm into everything.
He's done with
I'm done. I'm like done. I like taking everything. Like, so I've read about my astrology. I know all my shits. I know my houses.
It's all. We're all connected to Earth and the universe.
Yeah, I know my numerology. I know my. Yeah, I mean, I've done all the psychedelic ways to connect. I've been trying to figure it out my whole life. Like, it is. I do a podcast on this because I'm like, who's figured it out? And I just want to talk to everyone about where they are with their shit. Like, you wear a cross. Is that a cross?
Yes.
So are you Christian?
I wouldn't necessarily say that.
Were you raised Christian?
I was raised in a Christian household.
What kind of Christian?
I'm not too sure because I'm not essentially Christian. This was given by my aunt.
Okay.
So I just wear it just because I believe in things happening for a reason. Yeah. And certain people are in your life. And they leave something with you for certain reasons. Yeah. And I feel like it's just meant to be with me, a part of my journey. Yeah.
Do you believe in Jesus?
I essentially believe in the universe and just trying to find everything through nature. Because nature has all information. I haven't been in nature in a really long time though. But I know that a lot of those answers.
I haven't been out there in a minute.
Yeah, I know that a lot of the answers will be from that side of the world. Yeah. Especially being downtown. It's hectic.
Downtown is, I think, I've been thinking about this a little bit lately because it's a really fucked up place to live. And if you're a viewer from somewhere else, you want to get an idea of what the block that we're sitting on right now, there's a great documentary called Crime Scene Disappearance at the Cecil, which really focuses heavily on this neighborhood, just on this block. Have you seen that yet on Netflix?
No, I haven't.
It's wild. It's really about the Cecil Hotel, and they're just right up and down 6th Street. It's crazy. This building's up in it a lot. It's wild. Excuse me.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I seen some wild shit this morning. It was this homeless dude just using the bathroom in the middle of the street.
All day.
And then the cops are just right there with handcuffs. And I'm just like, yo, why am I seeing this right now?
Yeah.
I don't want to see it. I'm looking down. I'm why?
But the cop don't give a fuck about it. And here's the thing.
For him to finish. And I was just what is going on?
And so I was thinking about this recently about just what it's like mentally, right? Living in this type of situation where we're just every day, we're literally just walking past, stepping over people, just sleeping in the street, seeing people taking shits in alleys and I'll see someone shoot heroin before like my morning walk. I haven't had my coffee yet, and I'm watching people like shoot up heroin, smoke crack, right? And it's like we're talking about energies and like vibrations that we're going through, right? Like this is obviously like affecting too. Like if we step outside of downtown, every time I leave downtown, it's a different like vibe and energy, right? Like you get out into nature and you're like, whew, silence. Like I haven't heard someone scream in a minute. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. And then like, what am I doing here, right? And I think there's something to. There's a J Electronica line.
It's madness.
It's madness. But there's a J Electronica line. It's like you can find the Christ where the lepers and the lame's at, right? It's like if Jesus were to come back, or like any of these prophets were to come back, they wouldn't like be isolating themselves somewhere in like solitude away from. I mean, maybe Buddha. Maybe Buddha would have went and set out in the woods or something. But like, Jesus or somebody would have been down on Skid Row being like, hey, what the fuck? Like, y'all see what's going on? Y'all see these people out here? Like, we got to pick them up. And so like, I think there's like something to like not turning your back on the illest parts of what's happening in this world. And I think that's kind of what we're doing here. And then, but I don't know how that's affecting me. Like, am I getting sucked in? Am I raising it up, or is it pulling me down? Or like, and for you, how do you feel living out here?
Well, I believe every human has a choice, and that is the one thing that no one can take from you. So I'm starting to look at things as that is a choice. It's not because of this happening or that happening. It's because it was your choice.
But which part is the choice? Are you talking about their choice to be out there, or my choice to stay here and look at it?
Everybody's choice in general. Like, what you decide on doing is what you decide on doing and what you believe in. And it's up to us to see people like that and uplift them and help them as much as we can.
Yeah.
But it's easier said than done at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And then so it's a matter of how much of my energy I can be devoting to that.
I think if
to anything, and that's not just to that. That could be just to like somebody crying in the hallway or some shit. Like how much energy do I have to put towards this? You feel me? And it could be like a lot and like change someone's life, or none today, untapped. You know what I mean?
I mean, you shouldn't feel bad about it.
I don't feel bad about nothing.
Yeah, we all go through things.
Yeah,
and if you don't, then you do, and if you do, it was for a reason.
Yeah,
you're not gonna just tell somebody something just for no reason. It's because the universe is working with us all, and helping us, put us in certain situations, and speaking to certain people.
I've been in such a weird, like I've been in a super, like that whole like manifestation type of thing. Like I'm like right now in a place where I have to catch myself. I've been doing it like real regularly now, just not saying certain things out loud. Because I've been calling shit up like immediately, like good and bad. Like I'll say it, it'll happen. I'm like, fuck, watch that shit, right? Like I've started typing stuff out and I've like deleted it, being like, I can't put that out there, like I'm fucking up. And
that's a sign of growing. Look at that as something positive,
And like I need to use it better. Like now, instead of like watching what I do say, I need to like say that. Give me that money. Just start typing that all the time. But that's not even where I want to be with it either. Yeezy the God on a break, and I didn't know this before we came down here tonight. Number one artist.
Most influential.
Kanye West.
You could say that, yeah.
I can feel it a little bit. I mean, I think Kanye is like the most influential musical figure in hip hop like right now, and I think he doesn't get enough credit for that. Like even like amongst like, you could say like all the little Uzis and all these niggas, like they coming from some down south stuff, but I'm like, nah, Kanye and like Andre 3000 even let niggas be weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they definitely had a great impact on music.
Yeah, where do you come in on Kanye? Like where was Kanye like where you were like, oh shit, this bull's different?
remember a very vivid memory of just listening to 808s and Heartbreaks as a child. I don't know how young specifically, but it was pretty young.
Yeah.
And it was just always on repeat.
See, this is where I be telling you I'm old and shit. When you be like 808s as a child, I was grown as fuck listening to 808s. I had a law degree listening. Did I have a law degree? I don't think I had a law degree. But 808s is the one. 808s is my now third least favorite Kanye album, which isn't saying a lot because I think they're all classics, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think 808s is the only classic in my least favorite album. The bottom two aren't classics. Maybe because of Kanye. Jesus is King and Yay.
Okay.
Those are my bottom two in the 808s. And then everything else. 808s is just not my favorite, but I think it's the most influential Kanye West album, which why I think it might be the most classic, if not like second most classic Kanye album. Because I think it really, like, I don't think you get Childish Gambino without that. I don't think you get, like, Drake even be able to Drake the way he do without it. Like, a lot of, like, the singing and stuff that you see on stuff, like, a lot of that, a lot of the auto-tune, I think Kanye really, like, made more mainstream with that.
Yeah. He did things a certain way, and he did everything to, I feel, how he envisioned it. And everyone reacted to it very positively for the most part. Yeah.
And like you were saying, you've learned to like work collaboratively to make a project. And which is something that's like some people try to take away from Kanye from, but I'm like, if the end product is greatness, the fuck? Like if I can put together like and every time I put together this team of people that I select to put together to make a great product and we make a great product, then who gives a fuck if you went over there by yourself and put together the whole thing by yourself to make some mediocre shit? I'm here for greatness. You know what I mean?
Yeah, those types of negative comments about stuff like that should always be overlooked. You know, they have no substance to it. We only seek, you know, the positive thoughts. And always take constructive criticism from people. And, you know, not to let it affect us at all.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be on some negativity sometimes. Like, but not even negativity. I'll try to be upliftingly negative. I talk a lot of shit on J. Cole.
There's motivation in
there's motivation in that. There's motivation, you know what I mean? Like being like, yeah, because like usually it's like if I am talking shit, here's what I'll say about my talking shit. People, America, sorry, world, universe. I don't know who's tuning in. If I am talking shit, usually I do still kind of give a shit, right? Like if I'm like, so like I have a thing where I talk a lot of trash on J. Cole. I don't believe J. Cole's ever made a banger. Don't think he has. And he, you know, he's like, oh, no features, yada. I'm like, no bangers either, right? Like I don't go get a feature and get a banger, right? Have somebody else produce a track on your album and get a banger. Do whatever you got to do, but get that banger out. But I don't not believe that he can't do it. And like people be like, people who like follow me on Spotify, they'll be like, Aston, I see you listening to J. Cole sometimes. And I'm like, I've listened to every J. Cole album that's ever dropped. Like that's how I know he don't got no bangers. And I only listen to it because I do believe he has it in him. And I'm trying to motivate this nigga to just dig in his bag somewhere and be like, let me get some bangers out and like do what I got to do to like elevate to the next level to be elite, that like the eliteness. But at the end of the day, like if I thought he was absolute trash, I'd be wasting no time. Like I'm not listening to Tekashi 6ix9ine albums talking about you need to step it up. Like I'm just like, nah, I don't think this nigga has it in. I don't want that, right? So like my negativity does come from a positive place.
I can see that. I do believe J. Cole is a great artist.
I ain't say he wasn't a great artist. I said he had no bangers.
By being a great artist, I think he does, but it's just
we'll play him right now. I'll play him right now. What are the bangers? What are the bangers? What are the bangers?
Don't listen to him, but
yeah, exactly. He said he personally doesn't listen to him. Go on.
He did have that song with 21 Savage.
Yeah. 21 Savage did make a banger featuring.
I believe that won a Grammy.
Whose song was that?
I believe it's on 21 Savage.
That's right, because J. Cole don't got no bangers. That's what I'm saying. And what I'm saying to you is J. Cole doesn't have bangers.
Okay, I guess what you're saying.
Yeah. J. Cole been on bangers. I've listened to your album. You already have more bangers than J. Cole. Is what I'm telling you. And that don't mean I'm not saying you're a greater artist than J. Cole. I'm not saying you done it, maybe. Yeah. But you do have more bangers than him on your albums, is what I'm saying. And that's it. Not everyone needs bangers, but that's my negativity.
I can see what you're talking about now. Yeah, like complete like bangers, like just go crazy.
He got something. I think you'd be like, this is about to be a banger. But is it about to be a?
Maybe
it's just going to be the same weak ass beat for the rest of the song. No progression. I'll shit on him. I'll just. He could do so much more. He could do so much more. But go on. Who else influences you?
Kid Cudi.
I could have called that from a mile away. When you said like you emotions and like, you know what I mean, feeling pain, like I felt like I was doing a Kid Cudi interview. I was like, yeah, all right, yeah. Which is one thing that I really like about Kid Cudi too, though. And we talk shit about him and we give him some shit for this because he's emotional in his music and shit. But like the importance of black men addressing emotions, and Kanye does it too, is like a thing that we like really we don't do or allow for. And I think it's like we're almost like more emotional than anyone else naturally. I
believe everyone has great. All of our top artists have great emotion in their music, and that's why it has touched us so much, and that's why we listen to it.
You say all of our artists. I want to say our artists are somewhat different because we're coming from different generations. Mm-hmm. Artists talking about emotions is some new shit. Like, this is some new shit. Like, it would be on some, like, hard shit, like, oh, yeah, times is hard. You know what I mean? Or, like, my girl left me all. But, like, this, like, yo, I'm feeling down, and what am I going to do? I'm alone. Like, that shit is, that's new.
I think that it's more spiritual.
I think more spiritual as opposed to religious is what I would say. Because before, it was kind of a more religious rap.
I feel like all of the music has a lot of base of emotions. You know, like every single bit was made out of pure emotion.
Feeling emotion, and
it's just talking about it is different.
Yes, talking about it is different.
But
putting a name on that emotion.
If you think about it, everyone in society just puts a mask on when it comes to emotions and steps into line. But a person with emotions is looked at as unstable.
All right, so that Kanye, right? When Kanye did the one interview and he cried, and he was like running for president, he was crying about his daughter and like he almost aborted his daughter, and people were like, yo, like he's crazy, he's emotionally unstable. And I'm like, why? Why do you think he's emotionally unstable? And they go, didn't you see him crying? And I was like, yo, we're at that point, I'm like, we're like 6 months into a pandemic. Tell me how many times you've cried before. Like, tell me how many times you cried during this pandemic. Tell me how many times you wanted to scream during this pandemic. Tell me how many times you like wanted to wear your like emotions on your sleeve and like we all have to suck it up and like pretend like we're not feeling something that we're not feeling because you look crazy if you like go out into the world and be like, these are my emotions right now. And for him to even dare to go out and be like, I'm gonna show my real emotions in front of people. That is one of the number one things in the last year that people have pointed to be like, Kanye's unstable. He's crazy. And I'm like, that's the realest shit I've seen an artist do in a long time.
Yeah, just, acting out of intuition instead of the thoughts of what others are going to perceive you by.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what some people think. It may not touch them, but it would touch those in need.
Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason.
Everything happens for a reason. But I think that's also like why I say like
butterfly effect.
I think it's a lot my generation who was like, yo, that nigga's weird. Why is he crying? Whereas y'all's might be like, yo, we feel this, right? You know what I mean? Like, I think that is a place of progress in being like
more conscious of just being who we are instead of being in a system that, we're kind of born into. And, there's a tad bit of people that break out of it.
Yeah.
And it's like the Matrix.
It's like the Matrix, but the thing about the Matrix is what I think is like cold about the Matrix, or not the Matrix, but I guess also the Matrix. The Matrix like kind of has a fail-safe built in because they expect like some to work their way out of it, but like you still just get folded back into it. Like the Matrix has a plan for when you find your way out of the Matrix, which is like another Matrix. You know what I mean? You got to keep working your way out of the Matrix. And this is like quickly political, but I remember like when the protests first started in like June, it was like, oh, the system's fucked up, and how we fuck up the system is by doing this next step. And then we all like went into the streets and did this. Like that was like the next logical step. And I was like, or is that not the step that they planned us to go into, right? Like if I'm building this matrix, I got to know when the matrix goes wrong, like people are going to bail. So I got to create a place for them to go naturally that I already know where to go with after that, right? And like I remember my dad like called me up while I was like deep out in the streets, and I had like it was right when I pulled back from it. My dad called me up and was just kind of like, pay attention to like, if they have a plan, they have a plan for when their plan goes off. You know what I mean? And you got to stay ahead of the plan.
We, in humans' time, we've encountered that similar situation with riots and protests, and we just keep doing it, and it's cool though. People should always fight for a cause and have that energy to believe in something positive, but you can't be inside looking out, because that's how you get brought in. So you only see what they want you to see.
Yeah.
But when you're looking outside on like the 12th floor and you're just looking at these riots, you see where like things differ. Yeah. There's other ways to do it.
When you said the 12th floor, were you talking about looking out the window Ice Cream Studios?
Yeah.
I was like, 12th floor over Spring Street. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Definitely. Go book your sessions at Ice Cream Sound.
No, book your sessions at Basement Studios. There are no promotions to other studios here. We only Basement Studios over here. He over there. He over here. But so, are you still on Kanye? Are you still like, when the next Kanye project drops, are you like, let me get it right now?
Of course.
Yeah.
There's a few hard copies that I bought. I haven't bought any in a while, just because.
I mean, not like drop, but like, what I mean is, when The Life of Pablo dropped on Tidal, I pulled my car over, downloaded Tidal, signed up. I was in the Valley. I remember I was up in like Van Nuys or Sherman Oaks driving home. And I pulled over, got off the freeway, pulled over on the side of the road because someone texted me that the album dropped. And I downloaded Tidal, got the album.
Yeah.
Today, if somebody texted me and was like, Kanye just dropped the album, I mean, like, am I gonna pull, like, if I'm home, if it's on Spotify, I'm gonna open it up right away, right?
I would.
Right. You would, right.
It would be definitely
like this going on, like immediately. Like as soon as
it's shit, yes, right. Perfect timing.
Yeah. I keep waiting, like I think I'll be like, maybe I'll be at the point where I'm like, I'll listen to that a little bit later on today when I have time. But I literally think I might just cut somebody off in the middle of a conversation and be like, hey, fam, I gotta go. Kanye just dropped the album and I gotta listen to it on real speakers. Are you there?
It depends on my energy, I believe. There's some times where I do that.
Yeah.
And there's times where I would just sit on the album. I'd be like, nah, I'm not going to listen to it. And then I wait 2 months and then I listen to it. And then it's like perfect timing.
You would do that with Kanye?
You
might.
like I said, it depends on energy. But
Yeah.
Kanye, if he did drop an album right now after Jesus is King, I'll be very interested in checking it out as soon as possible. I love that album. That
You really
album
like
was
Jesus is King?
Cool. Yeah.
Jesus is King
it's
or
very
Ye?
uplifting.
I like the album. I don't hate the album. I've gone back and listened to it. I'll say like
Amazing.
I think there's 5 songs on it, max. 5 songs. And that's high, maybe. So it's like my least favorite Kanye album because I'm like, it's not like everyone's not great. Some of them aren't really songs like Kanye songs. You know what I mean? But I still like the album. Like it's sonically good. Some of it's a little
The aesthetic.
yeah. So that one's my least favorite Kanye album. But still think it's decent. Like I still like listen to it and be like, yo, his message is so like off the wall right now and he's still producing good music. Like you guys still hear that he can produce the fuck out of some good music. So like if the next album he dropped wasn't like Blowing Jesus, I'd be way more excited. Like if he did, all right, I'll say this. If he dropped an album tomorrow and it was like Kanye just dropped another album called like I Love Jesus More Than My Children, and I'd be like, I can wait for that. I'll listen to that later. But if Yandi dropped tomorrow, stop the world. Like, get out of my house. I would stop in the middle of sex and be like, you got to get off me. Yandi just dropped. So I don't know. All right. Tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram at prince.jvdy. Oblivion is out on all platforms. You can find that with JVDE ARVAY, Oblivion.
And you're gonna see all that in the thing. So look down, you're gonna have all that information. Go listen to Oblivion, album's dope. And you can find me, I'm Aston Wallace. Find me at Fast Ramon on everything, all platforms. You can find this podcast at FPRK Radio Podcast. You can find it on YouTube. Sooner than later, you're going to find it on the other platforms. You know, I'll be slacking, but y'all fuck with me. Otherwise, we'll see y'all next week. Don't stay safe, stay dangerous. Peace.